Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Real Talk here on Shelbyville Now. I'm David Thomas. This is Bo Gill. We're
Hello.
here to just have some conversation about what's been going on around the area and in the world. Bo,
Yes.
there's a lot of things that's happening. Of course, we had Veterans Day
Yes, we
and
did.
had a parade and had a day of honoring our veterans, and that needs to happen every day.
Every day needs to be Veterans Day. Yes, I reached out to a few of my close veterans friends and just told them how much I appreciated it. But then I heard somebody say that, every day. And then I thought, well, you're right. I should do it at least more often. I think it would get on their nerves every day. But if you found another veteran, look, no matter if they served as a janitor overseas in war, they put their life on the line. They signed their name to, even if they didn't go overseas, for that potential to put their life on the line for our country. And that right there, my friend, is what dedication to your country is. And hats off. Thank you. We say it sometimes while we're not thinking, but we need to think about what.
And this is something that you see too. A lot of them fought in wars they didn't understand.
Yeah,
they followed the orders that they were given because they were taught that you do this or people get hurt, people get killed, and we're doing this for our country. That's the way they were taught.
Yes.
Now, the political side of things, you look at Vietnam, that was a controversial war. It was controversial for them while they were there, but yet they still fought. They came home and they got raked over the coals.
Yes.
To this day.
And they were following orders.
And they were doing what they were charged to do.
That's right. And I don't know. I can't think of a better man or a stronger type man that is willing to put his life on his line. That's just true words right there. So thank you. And let's make every day Veterans Day. Let's find a veteran.
That's right. All right, Bo, let's talk about Tuesday night. We also had a county commission meeting that was dominated by the appointment, the voting, the discussion, and the appointment of a wastewater. It turned out to be committee, started out to be a board, and
it's called a "Don't Call Me a Board" committee.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that want to know what's the difference between a committee and a board.
Yeah,
so I looked it up. A committee is an assistant group. A board is an authority group, or they have power to make decisions. So this committee, as it turns out, was on the agenda. It was also mentioned as a board, and this motion was made to change it. And the names of the people were already in place before the commission ever voted to even have the board.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that don't pass the smell test, but that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a board of people. And I'm not going to say these are the wrong people, but I think the process that was done, knowing who they were going to be before they even went in and talked about having the board and doing it, which turned into the committee. We had 7 people already written down on a paper, and we're charged to vote on them right after the committee was elected.
Yeah, and I think the mayor accepted different names from several people, but the problem is he presented those names very soon before the meeting, and it didn't give folks enough time. I mean, you should have enough time to be able to call, and I would say enough time would be maybe a week, 2 weeks. I mean, this is important.
Well, here's my thing. Here's my thing about it, Bo, and I agree with what you're saying there. We had a list of names, and he had those names, but the commissioners were not given the opportunity to discuss the individuals or even interview the individuals and talk to them and have them there to make, hey, what's your thoughts on this?
You would think, I think that would be a good political move for a mayor, but according to the rules that were stated at that meeting, the mayor, and I think they were stated twice, the mayor has the option to appoint.
Has the option.
And so that's his option. That's the way he runs business. So there we go. But I do think,
commissioners have to approve it, though.
They have to approve it, which is what they did.
Right.
But and that's where they have their say, which is where they didn't have enough time to really, and not everybody showed up. Now, my dad is one of those on there. He's on there. And look, let's talk about that. My dad would be the first to tell you, and I'll first tell you, he is an appraiser. He's a real estate appraiser first and foremost. He's a real estate professional. He's not a step system professional. He's not, but he's got very good judgment. And I think he's built that reputation up over the years. And that's what we need is we need good judge of these people trying to sneak their way in with these type of regulations. And I think that I wish that all of them, my dad included, would have been interviewed. I think they probably would have all been. I think a lot of them are serving like, okay, yeah. But
how many soil people were on the list?
I don't think there's any on there. I don't know. Denny Hastings has got his hand in everything, so
he's familiar with
and
the
he's going to bring a lot of ideas.
Right,
he's well connected.
I know Sammy Coates is a farmer.
Yes, and they've got,
and he has some soil background. That's what I think. That's what he went to school for.
Yes, and they've got ideas, and it's not to make Bedford County the guinea pig of step systems. It's to figure out a problem that we got. And I know a lot of people don't want growth and development, and some people, that's what all they want. But if we've got to make a choice, and if it's going to come, and if the state's going to mandate something, we need our own rules to take care of our own.
They don't have much. They've got very loose.
You don't want to go by the state restriction, state minimum.
Yeah, and the guy from
standards.
the state would even tell you that. He did say that.
Yeah. So they've done something. They've neutered it the best they can. They've instead of a board, it's a committee. They put a time limit on it, and they've given it an assignment. To bring us something within that 12 months. Now, it don't have to be at the end of that day, but anytime in between. So my advice would be hit the ground running. Let's not.
So here's my question. Now, this conversation between Commissioner Yockey and Commissioner Neely was talking about, will this committee actually be reviewing individual plats and stuff and get down in the nuts and bolts of it? Or are they just going to do the rules and pass them on to the planning commission and the codes department of the county, where that's what I thought this whole thing was. They were going to come up with the guidelines. I did not know, and I still don't know, if they're going to be looking at individual plats and making judgment calls on individual developments.
That's not the way I look that their job is, nor should be. We've got land that is land in Bedford County that is, we've got Bedford County land that's not changing. It might with rain or whatever, but we need to study our land. And I think that this committee, that their task should be to study our land, to maybe do a whole soil map of the whole the county, or find a way to do this and find the new technologies, the expertise, and to see if we're even, if it's capable of having that. This should not be a committee that reviews each individual case. That's something for the planning commission. I don't think that's the long-term plan. I think we're wanting something temporary so we can get something on the books, so that when a developer comes, we're not, having this big deal. We're having something on the table. I think that this committee, what they come up with, needs to be well vetted, needs to be shared with the public, needs to be transparent.
Okay, we just, sorry to interrupt here. We got Donna Simmons. Donna, we're talking about the water, wastewater. I don't know what you call it.
Wastewater committee,
rule committee, or
yeah.
Advisement committee, or whatever it is, to come up with some guidelines for step systems or decentralized systems for in place of septic systems for larger developments outside in the county. Has nothing to do with the city. It's all county. So you talk about the Longview situation out there, Bo. Right now we're in the air. We don't know what's going to happen out there. Here's the big issue I think that a lot of people were concerned about. They got the water authority that was going to be done by private act that we were talking about a few months ago.
Yes.
I got it confused with what this is. So it's two different birds.
It's easy to do. I mean, it's only two different birds when you're talking about it. If you're looking and smelling it, you know which one's the difference. There's clean water and wastewater. And
well, no, that other was a wastewater too, but they were going to talk about having an authority.
Oh, yes, a combined authority for that. I was talking about the B cuts. Water is very important to all communities, and and it's easy to get confused though. But yes, they were trying that, but this is what we've gotten out of it.
Yeah, it's gotten watered down, no pun intended, to this.
It percolated.
We have this committee that will actually hopefully help the planning commission and help the codes department come up with those guidelines.
Yeah, so, to bring those to the table that can assist maybe other counties, maybe whatever, all resources on board to come up with a way to, I guess, protect.
I like the idea of the map.
Yeah, I do. I think
the map, have the whole map. This area right here is not.
Yeah, we need to know our soil, and soil is ever changing. I mean, it is. Soil gets washed away. People plant trees. People cut down trees. But I think that if we know what we got, we know everybody says Bedrock County. Bedford County. You can find a rock, and there's a lot of rock here. But how much is the question here? And I know that it's another question that really is talking about development. I mean, what we're talking about here is more houses being built in a rural county where we're here to live in a rural county.
All right. Let me throw this out there. Sammy Coates. I know Sammy. He's about my age.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in this area his entire life.
Farmer.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, he could walk on a field and just by the way it sounded under his feet, he would know if it was going to work or not.
I guarantee you. And he's rode many a field. He's stepped on many a field.
But you know what he'd tell you? He said, let's test it though.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. So I think, and I hope, and I could say, I know if I talk about my dad, there's people with good judgment on there. Right. And if they've got good judgment that are not scared to ask questions, we don't need developer. We don't need people that are, with their hand in the cookie jar.
Right.
We need the independent and this is they put a time limit on this.
It's a year. Got a year.
So after that year, if this may not work or they may like it and need more but new people.
I don't have any problem with anybody on that committee. I just wish that it would have been done in an order where we could have heard from the committee publicly so the commissioners could hear and have a good feeling about voting these things and doing it unanimously instead of some people I don't know. And they passed when they voted because they felt in their heart it was not the right move to make at that time. I could see where you could have just a week, have a special call meeting, hear from the folks that were nominated, and vote on them and vote on them individually.
I agree.
Instead of just all at once.
I feel like we have this conversation like
it's a process we've been doing for years, Bo.
Yeah, this is what we do. And when's it going to change? I don't know. We've got a new election coming up. Maybe the new administration would try to something different. I don't know. But I do know that this is no surprise to me at all. This is just par for the course. Yeah. And it's the way it goes. And that's why you got good conversation, a lot of good representation at the meeting the other night. I mean, I have to say, there was just good representation of people's constituents there. There were some that didn't have much to say, but there was a good discussion. I happen to agree with Anita's at first to kind of put it off because
let's wait. Let's wait.
I was kind of with that,
All right, but there's a lot of people that are in this type of business. There were 3 people in particular that know all about this, and I think their names were mentioned as far as a possibility. But none of those people were changed because of the rift between the city and the county.
I hope. I'll just mention names. I hope John Freeman helps with this.
John Freeman. It should be on this.
Yeah, and I hope that he's a de facto member that they invite. Maybe but that's what we need. And maybe these guys have enough common sense to be able to think, hey, let's invite John. I think they can invite people, right?
Yeah, and I think we've got commissioners on there, and I hope they will ask questions.
I do too.
In this process a lot.
Yes, I do too. I hope they go in as a student. And you need to go in as a student, really.
Let's see, that's John Boutwell and Keith Davis are the 2 commissioners.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
they need to ask questions.
And Boutwell will. Mr. Boutwell, I know Mr. Boutwell.
Well, I'm anxious to see how this develops.
I am too.
And how it turns out. I like to see them
something. I have to say the Diane though, she really had some good words, and I really agreed with a lot that she said. Things didn't kind of go her way, but I feel you, Diane. You're I think we all do. I think that's kind of what the sentiment was that we had, that this has been happening a lot. I think she's kind of fed up, and she showed some of that, but it was very eloquent and well put. And I'd say she represented her constituents.
That's what you got to do in that position.
That's it. Like it or hate it. That's just the way it is.
All right. Let's talk about, you went to a meeting, and we've been hearing about this. Josh and I have been talking about the city is hiring a group called Retail Strategies, which on the surface, it sounds like they are recruiters for more retail establishments in the city. Now, this is the city of Shelbyville doing this, not the county.
Right.
And they had a meeting. You went to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of strategies do they have, Bo? What's the strategy here?
They have strategies. They have what they think are strategies in similar areas as Shelbyville. That are going through similar changes, like that are maybe in Georgia or Kentucky or some in East Tennessee, West Tennessee.
They got examples.
They got examples in comparable areas. They gave us a lot of data, but they were the first to say, look, we don't know your town. We hadn't put a microscope on it first. That's where we need your feedback. And that's at that meeting. That's what a lot of those there provided. But yes, and that was one of my, I think what they have partnerships with other retail businesses, stores, whatever not, and they look at the areas that that they can get it in there.
What kind of stores are we talking
I don't
about?
know. It's just they're a recruiter. They're a retail recruiter, like it or hate it. The city has engaged with this contract, and they're there, and they're what they're doing is they're giving.
What was your takeaway?
My takeaway was that I would like to give those at retail. There were two guys that represented at retail. I would like to show them areas in town, and kind of get them more familiarized, because there are areas in town that I know that aren't like 231, but there's Cannon Boulevard. There's a lot
They're
of
totally ignoring all that.
They were.
That's the pattern.
That was kind of one of my deals that stood out first, and not looking. I hope that they're looking at it as a town instead of just just landowners all the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, we want to and it's retail strategy. So I want to see a strategy. Okay. At least for a way for us to rehab some of these areas. I mean, we're getting the squares rehabbing. We're getting there.
Yeah,
I mean,
the square looks good.
Yes.
I mean, it's vastly improved in the last 10 years.
Yes.
And there's been a good. Now, it took forever. Some of the hoops that some of these businesses had to jump through, Glass Hollow in particular, to get done what they got. It took forever and a fortune to build that place because of all the regulation and hoops, because you got a historical building. You got all these issues with a building built in the 1800s that you've got to bring up to code and everything. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
To jump through the hoops. Now, you would have to be very patient and very wealthy to pull that one off.
Yes.
All right. And then you've got others that, we've got some grants along the way, and it looks good. But Bo, I've listened and I've heard people talk, and people have posted here on our show before about we need this, we need that. We need this. We need that. And the we needs are great, but what will we support? What can we support financially that would make sense for a business to come in here?
Yes.
And right now, if you look at the demographics, I'm thinking we're going to get more Dollar Trees and Dollar General stores and more discount places than anything else. That's what would match up with our demographics. So we got to get our demographics better before we can get these places that we want.
And that's a whole nother issue. That's where you get into industrial recruiting and getting.
And they don't do that.
They don't. But we can do that. As citizens, we can. If you know somebody, and there's ways that we can do that. But here's my deal with the retail strategies. I want to get the most bang for my buck from them, and they provide strategies. And if we're going to spend taxpayer money for someone to study, or somebody that's asking for feedback, I want to just give them all the feedback I can, and I want to hear it from other people too. And I think that retail strategies is wanting. I know they are. I know they're wanting the feedback. They want to know what we think.
Feedback from who?
From everybody, not just
so. How do you get?
They're just starting this process, and this is where I think city council members could really relate that. Somebody like Josh Blevins, I know you'd have to call him. I wish they had some way to inform or to get people's opinion, because in my opinion, you've got such a big development area out, like 41A Union Street, going out to where Jostens is. There's a lot coming down the pike. What about a smaller type community, like maybe a groceries or a small?
Well, you got Piggly Wiggly out there.
You do got that, but maybe there's other type retails that would lessen the traffic burden on coming into town. I know people want traffic count.
But we got a Dollar General out at El Bethel.
Yes, we do.
We got that. And then we've got Piggly Wiggly right there on the fringe of town. Then you got Brad's Market, which is a convenience store and a gas stop.
Yes.
That's good to have. Okay, so what else? There's been other businesses in
closer
that
into
old
town,
Piggly Wiggly store there.
In there, and then closer into town.
They've tried right there, and it just doesn't. Yeah. It's hard to get in and out a lot of times. So where in that area would you put a business?
I don't know. I think the most potential would be the closest part to the intersection of Colorado Boulevard. There's a mixed area of dwelling, single dwelling, or church then it goes all the way up to the hospital. I think there's potential right in that area, as well as on right past Piggly Wiggly. But I think it would be important for the for the people in that area to give feedback. Look, there's not just Publix, Kroger's. There's these little small like independent stores, like in Chapel Hill and these areas, Eagleville. They're really nice. They're small. And maybe we don't need that. But here's what I want retail strategies to tell us: we don't need that, and here's why. And here's how you can get better. Or here's how there's a strategy. I want a strategy. I don't want a playbook or a list of names. Well, I'll call them. That's my strategy. Give us a real strategy.
I think they've probably got a hit list of people that they would call for a town that fits our demographics.
They do, and they're and look, retail this is a real deal. I mean, they got the hookup. You know, they can get you in touch and get your city on.
So what's the
cost?
Worked with
Tullahoma.
What's the cost going to be?
As far as what's that? The retail.
No, I know we're paying them a fee.
We did.
We hire them, but I'm talking about what's the cost to actually put a strategy in motion. You know, we're talking off the air that it's going to cost us tax, probably going to give away sales tax, property tax.
They talk
pay a bribe to them.
They liked incentives. They think
I call it a bribe,
and they say that, and that's what these companies are doing now. They taking bribe because they can. They'll say, yeah, we'll think about it. Give me 200,000. Well, maybe we will come, but we need another 200,000.
And they'll say there's no way to get a bit. I say pound dirt.
I say give that 400 to somebody and let them. That's a citizen that's motivated. Good,
I say
let them build it.
I say create an environment where you don't have to bribe somebody to put a business in place.
Like the bribes.
Let's get to. I think this goes back to Bo. How about this strategy? Let's keep the place safe. Let's put out the fires. Let's enforce the law. Okay?
Yeah, I like
Let's keep the roads good. Let's keep the place clean.
Yeah.
Would that not, and then make it a family-friendly environment?
If we've got that foundation, then it's gonna raise itself
and raise the demographics, because we've got a lot of people that have moved here that are still driving out of town for jobs. Okay, so what industrial goes back to what you're talking about. You look at Cooper Steel and what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
we need other businesses.
Yes,
that pattern that. Okay, and it takes a lot of money to do that. It's just not here right
but
now.
It takes heart too, and what Cooper Steel is giving back.
It's a lifetime. That's two generations of
it's already making an impact on my daughter's life. I mean, it really is, and so it's not just fields and these buildings. It is a mindset, really, and I see it, and that's just a side note there.
Yeah, to get these big retail names that people want, and I just call them chain stores, that like you see the cookie cutters everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've had a lot of coffee shops come in.
Got a few, and Starbucks looks about done.
It looks about done, and I just don't know. I just don't see how, man, economically right now, Bo, I just don't see how people can pay $6 and $7 for a cup of coffee.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't. I don't see that either.
And not here. I mean, there's some places that can.
But we've got a lot of them. People like chicken too. So who am I to say? It'll probably be a great thing, and it seems like people go to most of them. I mean, Southern Cup, I know that they
that's the ones I'm going to go to.
That's what
and the coffee break.
They support. Do we have to say it again?
I know.
Support local. I mean, we get on our whatever you call it, our stand.
Dadgum, I see too many Amazon trucks driving around.
They're everywhere. I thought maybe that
I'm afraid that the Amazon trucks are going to hit the other Amazon trucks. They're everywhere, man. I mean, on Saturday, on Sunday.
As long as the drones stay out of town, I'm good. I mean, I know that they do have that, but I don't.
Donna Simmons says, all we see as you drive around Shelbyville's vape stores or Mexican restaurants, we really appreciate what Cooper family is doing for our town. It's providing jobs that lift demographics.
It sure is.
And we have to have other businesses that lift demographics. I would love to be able to do something with my business, but the way the economy is right now, it's just not happening.
No, it's not.
It's not happening. And
there's some jobs right now that the economy or some businesses that maybe it's not, and those maybe will grow. But it would be great to have 2 Cooper Steels in town. They were really
there's only so much of that type business around, and they've got the reputation. And you look at the type of work that they're doing, you look at big Amazon stuff, and most of these big corporations are getting so many tax credits. They do work all over the southeastern United States and probably further if you dig into it with Gary and see where they're going. They're everywhere. That's a different type business than a small family run. They started that way, but they grew into something else.
But we've got some really good hometown businesses here. I mean, we've got wood makers here. Gene Ray is one that comes to mind. People, and he did the door for the new I just had for the grindstone. He did
Yeah.
the door. We've got so much talent here and quality that quality and there's some that you wouldn't even know that I wouldn't know. Been here my whole life. There's new talent coming.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of these just flourish from inside, and that's what Cooper Steel did.
You look at Musgrave too.
Yes.
They employ over 100 people.
Oh, Musgrave
and the fact that they're still making pencils here, it's an amazing store within itself.
Musgrave has pumped so much into this city
over the years.
Yeah. I mean, for crying out loud, they've built a park. You know, I mean, that's what strong local people do. I mean, that's what good businesses do, and that's what we want.
Okay, Joe Finch is up there. Mike Bonham is watching.
Oh, Joe.
Joe, Steve.
We got the crew in, don't we?
Let's see. Joe, what you are saying is what we need. I hope they don't recommend another kiosk like the group did before. And then Steve George, I would love to be a guest and discuss the community issues about the new committee wastewater and talk about getting voters out to change our direction in Beaufort County. That's something that we have an opportunity in 2026 to get out. Now, I'm just going to say there is a battle taking place. And the battle is real about change versus the same.
Yes.
That's what we're looking at.
Right.
So the battle is, do you want to see change the way we do things, or do you want the mode of operation to stay the same?
Right.
That's what our election is probably going to be about.
That's right.
I don't know who's running for what yet, except sheriff.
Yeah, we know that.
Outside of that, we hadn't heard anything. And now there's rumblings about this one's going to run, this one's going to run, but nobody's come out and announced.
Yeah.
It's time.
And to his point, it's time. Oh, it's time. And I would expect something in December at least. I don't know.
Yeah, when it's time to pull these papers out.
But back to his point. Look, we beat that over the head, and I would like to talk. About getting out the vote.
Yeah.
Look, we can have all the people, the candidates, but it doesn't matter because we're not showing up to vote. We've got to really get it out there that this is our county. We are the people, just like he said. And he comes to meetings. And he speaks. He practices his right to free speech, and I respect that. Whether they listen to him or not, they don't have to. But he gets heard, and I like that. But we need a bunch of him to do the same thing, not just speak, but to just show up and vote. That is.
And what we have to do is we have to present things in a way that people can understand them.
Yes.
What are the topics? What's the biggest riff that we have going on? And I'm going to describe it in my opinion. And this is just my opinion. You probably got an opinion. Steve and Joe, you probably got opinions. And everybody else out there watching have opinion. The biggest problem I see, and it's not just Beaufort County, but it's other places too.
Oh, yeah.
And it's government in general. The establishment that's there, if you ask a question or you make a comment, it's like you've attacked them, okay? That's not what it is. No. We just want answers to questions. And the biggest answer I get is, well, you just don't know.
Yeah,
you just don't know anything about it.
Well, they're looking at
honestly, Bo, that's a cop-out of like, I'm smarter than you are, so just shut up and sit down. I don't want to hear that anymore. The next person that tells me that, I might just pop them in the nose and say, you sit down.
I've learned that sometimes
I'm kidding, but
when I've listened to somebody that I thought didn't make sense or anything, I've gone back and maybe a few days or a week later, he was saying something. Give everybody a chance and listen to him is what I'm saying. I mean, I don't get that where I'm looking at you because you're this so-and-so or he's saying it, so I've got to disagree with it. No, we reset on every policy.
Right. You're
we
right.
Reset. I might agree with you on this. We might all agree on this, and we might start a yelling match on the next one.
But that's okay. But it's got to the point that if this person makes a suggestion, you're automatically against it, even if it's common sense.
I could probably predict the votes going on, and it's like that.
Yes.
Because it's like, well, I thought you thought better than that, but it's like you're going along to get along, and that is not how you represent. You represent independent. You represent your constituents independently.
Right.
As that's you were elected to do.
That's right.
Not, I mean, I'm not talking if you want Republican, I'm talking about just the word independent, being an independent individual.
Honestly, it's not about Republican, Democrat in Beaufort County. No. It's about common sense, not common sense.
There you go.
At this point. And now I find conservative people, they have more common sense.
Yes.
Most of the time.
That's typically the case. I mean, that's just the way it is. A liberal type person seems to be a little bit more.
They're looser with their thoughts.
They are, and feelings, and that's just who they are. We've got we've got a lot of different type of people, but getting common ground there, that's where we can make hay.
And if you just sit back and listen, sometimes a person that you might have pigeonholed as, well, I'm against everything they say, they might come out with a good idea. You got to be open enough to do that, recognize it, and say, hey, that makes sense.
I've been guilty of it. I think we all have
too.
And we need to get out of that mindset. We need to just be, especially if it's about policy or about something, we need to look at it objectively, no names attached, and just look at what we have here, talk to our constituents, and then when it comes time, you say yes or no, and it's not you, but look, I'm talking too much common sense here, right? I mean, sometimes that doesn't. But I feel like we cannot say it enough about getting involved, and getting involved doesn't mean going and have to get your talk every time. It means just you can watch the video, you can be there, you can ask questions, you can talk to your commissioner. Hopefully,
every commissioner should know their constituents enough to know what they're going to think about something, but then they have to get out and they have to go double check their thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you thinking about this? You should have a group of people that's diverse across your district that you can pick up the phone and call and say, what do you think about this?
Yes.
And you're going to know they're going to speak for a lot of people when you go across the board from every spectrum and say, okay, this is it. And we even have the technology now, Bo, where you could have your constituents register on a website or an app and say, here's the question at hand, give me your thoughts, and poll your people real quick. Polls are a great thing to use.
Oh, they are. They are.
Especially when
they're not all
how
inclusive.
To ask the question.
But they're a way to gauge it. But I think a lot of commissioners are running into the problem to where they're trying to get questions answered for their constituents, and they're hitting a dead end sometimes. It's hard for them to get a commissioner sometimes to get a clear answer from, say, some type of department head or something. And that needs to be, that doesn't need to be there. And I wish that all department heads would show up at meetings. I know they can't, but I feel like that's you've got to answer for your job at that.
Yeah. To know, for the commissioner to be able to poll their people, they got to be able to ask the questions the right way to the people. So they have to understand the topic.
So they have to ask.
And so many times I see like commissioners, council people, representatives of all kinds don't even have a clue what's going on.
No, they don't.
And that's scary.
Yeah. And you won't hear them talk much at meetings, and that more than likely means they don't have an opinion, and they were just kind of, winging it. And that's not a way to represent, but they're just pay attention, be involved in these things. No, this is where it starts here. The national stuff is great, state stuff, but this is where you live. This is where this is where they affect you on a daily.
Okay. Diane is on here. Diane Neely. Every vote counts. I won my first election to the school board by one vote. It's imperative that every person vote, study the candidates, and exercise your right to vote. 100%.
That's it. That's it. Couldn't be put plainer. I mean, that's once again another eloquent statement coming.
Yeah,
from a commissioner right there.
Yeah. So I think that we have some people that are in the framework of our government now that if we had more of, and I think everybody knows who that is.
Yeah.
That's who we need to re-elect, and we need to elect more people like them they're not to serve themselves, but they're to serve the constituents and represent the constituents. We don't need leaders. We need listeners,
servants,
listeners, people that listen to their constituents and then in turn vote on their behalf.
That's right. I think it would be that there will always be arguments and there will be debates, but if everybody represents well, that would make that would be the best way. Look, I know we're on a pipe dream right now, and we know, but I think
it don't have to be. It don't have to be a pipe dream. Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes in Beverly County now, or in other small counties, we think that that's just no more. But I think we can believe that it can come back. And
Bo, this country and our state is generally good compared to a lot of others. All right,
we're blessed,
but we have some issues. And all of our issues are created by bad representatives at this point.
Many,
we're
if not most. You're exactly right. And representation it's like we've said before, it's kind of like a deacon in church, a servant. You're open arms, your constituents. It's not a kingdom. It's not not
power. It's not a power.
You don't pass it down to your son or anybody. you realign. And if
Yeah.
you're not doing your job, but a lot of times that's where people come in and they vote for friends, or, oh, they might be a good person, but they're not best for this job. And that's where you need to vet. That's where you've got to. I mean, there's a lot of great people.
See, so when we get going in our election thing, I've got 5 questions I want to ask every single candidate. And you can listen to these candidates, and you can get a feel for whether they have a servant mind or if they're seeking power. You can hear it by the way they answer their questions.
Yes, you can.
And if they're honest and sincere, you'll know who you're going to want to vote for.
Yeah.
And I want to invite every single person that's running for office to sit down right here, and I'm going to ask the same 5 candidates, the same 5 questions I ask every single candidate. I could list them right now, but probably most everybody knows what they are. They're straightforward,
and then
and there's
an opportunity also to tell your story.
Yeah,
I think that you can answer those questions too, but you need to tell your story to the people that don't know you. Maybe they know you, or they hear things about you. It's important for them to know you and say, well, don't be scared to go up to them and just ask them a question.
There's 3 questions I would like to ask that are yes or no questions. No elaboration, just yes or no.
Yes or no.
But I have failed to find most everybody willing to do that.
Everybody wants to. I want to elaborate. If you told me yes or no, that'd be hard, man. I'd be like, yeah, but.
All right, Bo. Here you go. Here's your question.
All right.
Will you raise property taxes in Bedford County? If you're a commissioner, will you raise property taxes?
If I was a commissioner, I would not vote to. No, I would not.
The answer is no or yes, Bo.
No,
what would you say?
I would not.
Just no. All right.
No, I would not.
That would be one question I would ask. That's one, but I've got 2 others too. But anyway.
Yeah, well, thank you. You got any more yes or no questions?
Do you value the opinion and the voice of your constituents? Yes or no?
Yes.
If your constituents would ask you to vote for something that you want to vote no on, and they're asking you to vote yes, will you vote yes?
Yes.
Okay. That you're not going to get those.
I feel like I've been put through a lot.
But that's the mindset we got to have.
Yeah.
Yes or no. I don't want a word salad. Just give me yes or no. Now there's 5 word salad questions I'll ask.
Okay.
We're going to do that.
Yeah. They need the word salad.
But we need to get out of here. There are some things happening in the world that I'd like to talk about real quick. Of course, the shutdown is over with, and everybody's going to get back to work.
World record shutdown.
42 days. Okay. And the Epstein files are going to be coming up for a vote to release those.
Let them out.
Trump has an email floating around that basically is from Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell saying he knows about these girls. He's kicked me out of Mar-a-Lago, and he's asked. And then he said another email saying that he asked Gazelle to stop it.
And he didn't contact authorities.
He didn't contact the authorities, but he kicked them out.
Yeah.
That's where they're going to try to go after Trump. He's afraid of it. They just need to release him.
Release it.
Get it over with, and he can explain himself.
Yes.
All right. And then we've got 8 Republican senators that are wanting to be able to sue the federal government for up to $1 million. Because if their communications were accessed during the Jeffrey Epstein investigation.
They like to spend taxpayer money.
I mean, I don't want to pay $1 million out of taxpayer money because somebody got their feelings hurt because they were surveilled. If they were on the suspect list, they should have been surveilled.
Exactly.
If they weren't on the suspect list, we need to go after the ones that were like doing.
Well, now everybody's going to know why they were on the suspect list because of this lawsuit.
If we just see these lists.
That's right.
The other thing is the solar storm lights.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen any of that?
I'm getting headaches and twitches. I don't know what's going on, but I have seen some cool pictures.
Let's see. We also have a situation developing in Venezuela. Russia and China are coming to Moderna's aid, and we're talking about putting boots on the ground and having a ground war in the middle of this. Yes. I think we just need to shoot the boats, blow them up if they're bringing drugs in, and stay out of that mess because that could go to World War III.
Yeah, let's protect our borders. Let's not get into any more agitation or anything. That's what they want, right? I mean, they would love that.
Yeah,
and we don't need to bite.
One other thing I'd like to talk about is our political environment, but we're going to wait and talk about that Monday. And I'm talking about from county level, and I kind of mentioned it before. I'm going to talk about party loyalty over principle. We're going to talk about that on Monday.
Oh, yes.
And there's going to be some other things come up probably, but everybody be watching for the weekend wrap-up show on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. after the sports show, we will be going over this water committee issue and then other topics that has happened this week.
Josh Blevins is
Josh
always
got
bringing
all
the
this.
news. He knows what he's talking about.
I just encourage everybody to keep up with what's going on, but don't pay attention to your legacy media. They're filling your brain full of lies. So
thank y'all for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Comments, everything. Yeah,
the comments were great today.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve and Amy. Steve again, Allie, thanks for being in there.
Everybody, Allie's always in there.
Thanks for
a lot of good
let's
support.
See who
here.
else we got here. Diane, thanks for chiming in.
Dylan
Whitaker, thanks for being here, and also for Donna Simmons, you were in here.
Oh yeah.
And I hope I didn't leave anybody else, but thanks for participating today. We value your comments.
We do.
Please share this video after it's over with. People can come back and look at this anytime. But thanks for the participation. It's been great. We'll see you guys again on Monday.
Monday.
Have a great weekend.